Today we will round out the regular season here in year number 7 with the Chicago White Sox as we look to make it back to the postseason for a third consecutive season. That'd be the first time in the history of the franchise that the White Sox have made the playoffs 3 years in a row. And hell, the only time they did it twice in a row was 2020 and 2021. That's it. So we got through the month of July in the last episode, the All-Star break, the draft. We landed a monster pitcher, Efrain Daniel, with our late first-round pick that we got for Barney Wagner winning the Rookie of the Year. We saw Randy Arozarena and Kyle Teel both participate in not just the All-Star game, but the Home Run Derby. And then during the trade deadline, we bolstered the pitching, acquiring Luis Medina, a first-time All-Star from the Toronto Blue Jays. He's had an amazing year as a starter over his last 10, 1.72 ERA. And then we bolstered the bullpen with George Soriano from the Athletics. He leads all relief pitchers this year in pitching WAR. This guy is an innings monster. He goes out there pretty much every other game and absolutely shoves. He's been one of the best relievers in baseball this year, and I think adding him and Medina absolutely shore up this pitching staff, which kind of feels like the Achilles heel of this team. We're one game back of Detroit right now in the division. Not only are you in the mix for the AL Central, but also the number 1 overall seed. Boston has 68 wins, Detroit has 69, and the AL West leading Seattle Mariners are at 64. So right now, even though we're the number 4 seed, we're only one game back of the number 1, which is currently held by the Tigers. So we could very easily get that number 1 seed if things go well for us over the final month and a half of the year. The AL wildcard race is super competitive. We've got to play well here through the month of August to try to have a stress-free September, not worrying about all these teams trying to chase us in the wildcard race. The National League is really competitive too. Other than the NL Central, the other 2 divisions are really close. The wildcard race is really close. It's going to be a fun end of the season, in my opinion, as everybody looks to bolster for yet another playoff run. I think our team overall is in a pretty good spot at the moment. We're roughly 20 games above 500. And again, we're only one game back of the number 1 seed right now. We have a pretty easy stretch to start off with. The Braves and the Nationals have the 2 worst records in Major League Baseball, plus we're at home. At minimum, we should win 4 games. After that, though, the schedule is no longer favorable. Every game after that is against a team that's either above 500 or in our division. So we're either going to get a good opponent or an AL Central opponent. A big reason why I like where we're at right now is we're super healthy. Only one big leaguer is injured currently. That's Mike Trout, who's 1 day away from coming off the injured list. He's only played in 10 games this year. He's been good when he's been out there. But, well, he hasn't played really at all. But we're excited to get him back. He'll be healthy within the next couple of weeks. But, of course, we're led by the star power. Randy Arozarena and Kyle Teel both in the mix for the MVP. I kind of feel like Max Clark is going to ultimately run away with the award, but both of these guys have been outstanding. Our only 2 All-Stars this year, which just goes to show how good they have been, but we still need the rest of this lineup to be a little bit more consistent. I am really happy with the season that Brian Ramos is having. He was a platoon guy to start the year. Now we're playing him against lefties, where he's fared really nicely. I think Cam Smith is playing really well, too. He started the year off really poorly. He was hitting like 150. Halfway through May, but he has really turned it around and has made himself a lot of money. The pitching, I think, is in a good spot. We go 5 deep in the rotation, and I would feel reasonably confident with any of these guys starting in a big playoff game. Even though we don't necessarily have a true ace, we have 5 guys, maybe even 6 with Jagger Haynes, who's been excellent lately. We'd feel good about all of those guys giving us extended innings. The bullpen's not as good as it was last year, but it's still very solid. We do need more consistency from the closer, Bruno Merced, who I think was a lot better as a rookie. So let's get through the rest of August. We've got the Braves and the Nationals. Again, at minimum, we should win 4 of those 6 games. Then a West Coast road trip with the Giants and the Mariners. That won't be easy. 3 at home against the Yankees, 3 at home against the Athletics. Going into the Braves series, though, we do find out that Mike Trout is officially off the injured list. As we know, we're going to send down Claudio Rubio, who's had a nice year, but as of late, he has not been quite as good. So he's going to go down to AAA. I would expect he's probably back on the roster within the next couple of weeks. Tied at 3 here in the 10th against Atlanta. This is game 2. Our good friend Bryce Miller getting the start in this game, and then Taj Bradley is on the bump in game 3. Alvarez on the ground, Wagner over to first in time. So we get through the top of the 10th, nobody scores, And ultimately, the White Sox would walk it off in the bottom half. Barney Wagner with an RBI single. We won the first game of the series 7-1. We win game 2 4-3, and we'll go for the sweep against Taj Bradley up next. As we take a look at how Bryce Miller did with Atlanta, he's having a really nice year, made the All-Star team. He pitched a pretty good game. 6 innings, 2 earned runs. His ERA sits at 3. 13 hits, 3 walks, got a lot of base runners. Had trouble scoring those guys, but we still won. Now, it's not all good news. Luis Medina in the final game against Atlanta tore a finger ligament, and he'll be out for the next month or 2. So he's probably done for the regular season. What will his status be for the playoffs? I don't really know. This could be a catastrophe. Right as our team was fully healthy, I figured it was only a matter of time, and it took 3 games. Jagger Haynes will replace him in the rotation. He's quietly playing outstanding baseball. His ERA is barely above 3 right now. Over his last 3 games, he's been terrific. 19 innings, 9 hits, 3 walks, no runs. In Luis Medina's place, he threw 7 1/3 scoreless innings. Joey Smith, meanwhile, will replace him. So he did win that last game against Atlanta, 7-0, largely because of Jagger Haynes. And now here we are in Game 1 against the Nationals, scoreless in the 7th. Dan Akar and Spencer Schwellenbach, both with dominant pitching performances. The Nationals had the bases loaded. Agustin Ramirez up for Washington as he pops it up. Johnny Brito on the mound is the one who gets us out of the jam. Remains scoreless, and the White Sox would end up winning this game, avoiding the upset against Major League Baseball's worst team. Shane Schmidt with a 2-run homer in the 8th. So far in our 6-game home stretch against the 2 worst teams in the league, we're 4-0. I said at minimum, we need to go 4-2. We've done the bare minimum. I'd love a little bit more, though. We'll see if we can win the next 2 against the Nationals. This team is rough. Their roster kind of reeks. But Dan Akar, former top pick, he's having a really good year. Schmidt with the homer, Schwellenbach with an awesome start. His ERA down to 3.27. In the last game against the Nationals, Kyle Teal suffered a minor injury. Shouldn't keep him out too long. You'll probably miss this Giants series. And we did end up sweeping the Nationals for what it's worth. So now here against San Francisco, we bring in Edgar Quero off the bench. This is the 2nd game. We lost game 1 as it's 4-3 with Jose Sanchez on the mound. Swinging to this. We've kind of got the B team out there. Teal obviously didn't play. Quero didn't start. And Randy Arozarena did not start either. We're going to bring him off the bench now against his former team. He played with the Giants last year, had an extraordinary season where he finished 2nd for the NL MVP. Full count for Randy on the way, and this one is belted down the line. Fair ball! Randy gets it to roll to the wall. We're tied. White Sox look to take the lead. 5-4. 2-run double for Randy Arozarena. He returns to Oracle. We return to Oracle as well. It's always fun to play here after having the Giants franchise last year. Gabe Spire out of the bullpen for San Francisco. We actually had him in the Giants franchise for a very brief point towards the middle of the series as Schneemann bloops it into center. Arozarena to score, and the throw is not in time. From Giants franchise legend Jun-Hoo Lee. Schneemann makes it 6-4. A big 9th inning. We've gotten all 3 of our runs here with 2 outs, no less. 1-0 for Barney Wagner. That one is grounded to first. Bryce Eldridge blocks it, sends it over to Spire, and the Giants get out of the inning, but not before the White Sox score 3. Bottom 9. It's looking a little shaky. Bruno Merced has been very up and down through the course of the year. That stone-cold clutch reliever we had as a rookie last year, that guy is gone. Kerry Carpenter off the bench with a pinch hit single. Runner advances to 3rd. Kerry Bonds comes up big. The throw is off as it's 6-5. Tying run is 90 away from home. The winning run is at first. What an opportunity for Dylan Carlson. Behind 0-2. This one is flown into the air in center. A playable ball for Crawford. The White Sox come from behind and beat the Giants. 6-5. We win game 2. We split the series. We'll see if we can get the series win in game 3. 7-1 so far in today's episode. Jagger Haynes got the start in this one. Did not start off well. The Giants scored 3 in the first, but he definitely picked it up after that. He ended up allowing 4 runs total. We took him out early in the 6th. 6 runs, 11 hits, good enough showing for the offense. Zach Eflin was solid, but I guess not solid enough. Mike Trout is officially healthy. We've already had him off the injured list, but now he can play, which is exciting. We lost the last game against the Giants. That brings us to this series against the Mariners. This is the first game. Cam Smith with a hitting streak on the line, up 2-1 here in the 7th against Jordan Romano. As it's a grounder to second, throw to first is in time, despite a good hustle by the red-hot Cam Smith. As I mentioned earlier, he's playing really well as of recent. He's made himself a ton of money. Randy Arozarena, who also played with Seattle, homers, as Smith's hit streak will come to a close because he draws the walk. The White Sox win this game by a score of 4-3. Mike Trout RBI single in his first game back, and we needed that run because Julio Rodriguez hit a 2-run homer in the 9th off of Bruno Merced. Got a little dicey with Merced again. Randy homers number 34, Ramos homers number 22, and then Drew Thorpe, one of his best games of the year, 7 innings of 1-run ball. We split the last 2 games against Seattle, so we win the series. Now we've got 3 at home against the Yankees. 7-5, we trail in game 1, bottom of the 8th. We were down in this game 7-0, but have stormed back. Bases loaded for Justin Crawford, who swings and misses on the fastball. Crawford's been playing great over the month of August, but Mason Miller gets him on the whiff. Miller would close out the 9th. The Yankees win the first of 3 in Chicago, 7-5. Jagger Haynes got the start in this one too. He hasn't really played all that well this year as a starter. I feel like he's a lot more comfortable out of the bullpen. So I feel like ideally, once we get into the playoffs, we've got Luis Medina hopefully back, and Haynes can be used as a reliever. Well, maybe we're not going to be able to use Jagger as a reliever because Noah Schultz in the very next game broke his arm. Lovely. So our pitching staff is now being dismantled. First Medina, now Noah Schultz, a guy who's been very durable for us through the course of this series. He doesn't miss games. He's been really good this year. He's had an outstanding season. He's the pitcher I trust the most in the starting rotation. And in terms of who's been the best this year, it probably has been Luis Medina. So that's number 1 and number 2 gone. So Jagger Haynes is going to have to start. We really only have 4 guys in the rotation right now. Grant Holmes can play. Will Bednar, I'm going to call up in like 4 days. I'm not going to do it yet. We are almost at September call-ups. That's when I'm going to bring him back. But I actually want to sign someone out of free agency first. All reliable. Bryce Wilson. When in doubt, he's the guy. Now, the problem is he wants a multi-year contract. Brother, no one has paid you this year. Just take the 1 year. Fine. If you're going to be stingy, I'll give you 2. I don't feel good about it because I don't know what his role would be beyond this year, but it always feels like we kind of need him. 2 years, $16 million. He's back. He'll be used as an innings eater for now. For the time being, Grant Holmes will be the 5th starter, but by the time we get to him on the schedule, Will Bednar will be up, and Will Bednar will be in the rotation. So we did win the last 2 games against the Yankees, if you're looking for a consolation prize. This is game 3 of our next series against the A's. We split the first 2 games. We won the first one 13-10. Second game we ended up losing. We certainly don't want to lose the series entirely as we go into the bottom of the 10th. Bullpen did their job in the top half. Now Shane Schmidt looks to be the hero. Against Tim Herron, draws a walk, and the bases are loaded. What an opportunity for Brian Ramos. You could argue we should bring in a pinch hitter. He's not as good against lefties. But Ramos has been great this year. I'm going to stick by our guy. Grounder to second. Play is made by the A's, and we are headed to the 11th. Good defense there by Santiago Espinal. So we'll go bottom 11. A lot of action both ways. The A's get 2, but we respond with 1. Justin Crawford, RBI single. He's the tying run at 3rd. Oswaldo Escobedo with a big double. He's the winning run at 2nd. The A's will intentionally walk Barney Wagner, sets up a force out, and now they don't have to worry about Wagner. As Daniel Schneemann is up, Mitch Spence scoops it on the mound, and the A's win it 5-4. Schneemann does not deliver the big hit late. The A's win this series against Chicago. The Athletics are a team who's in the mix for a wild card spot, so to take 2 with 3 on the road, that's a big deal for them, and not the end of the month of August that we were hoping for. Overall, through the 6 series that we just simulated and the 18 games that we went through, we played reasonably well, I would say. We ended up going 12-6, which is really solid. But we haven't played that well down the stretch. 6-6 in our last 12. And we lost both Luis Medina and Noah Schultz in the process. Dean Kramer, the former White Sox, got the start. He was fine, I guess. Ramos homered in this game, which I guess is even more of a reason that we stuck by him rather than going with a pinch hitter. Haynes got the start. He was better than he's been. 6 innings, 3 earned. Bruno Merced, though, gets the loss. His struggles continue. So we're 80-56 now. Some of the notable games we did not go over include 7-0 against Atlanta. This is when Medina got hurt. Haynes came in and played great. Taj Bradley, not so much. Bradley hasn't been that good in Atlanta this year. Bryce Miller's been better. And then 13-10 against the A's. Riley Green homered twice. They went deep 5 times, but we obviously matched the ball as well. Now, Randy Arozarena got hurt. It was a minor injury. He'll probably be in and out over the next week. Given that we allowed 10 runs, Schwellenbach actually had a really good game, but the bullpen had to troll. Bruno Merced pitched another really bad game. The A's came back down 7 before we walked it off in the bottom of the 9th. I don't know why the game didn't give us a critical situation. That seems like one of the most exciting games of the year. So we're in first place, not just at the division, but for the number 1 seed overall. The Tigers have lost 7 of their last 10, so we're 2.5 games above Detroit, which is really nice. Here at September Call-Ups, we're going to bring up Will Bednar. He has been an absolute animal in AAA this year. And then with our other spot, I'm actually not going to go with Claudio Rubio, but instead Chase Mydroff, who's been consistent throughout his big league career. He's having a pretty good season in AAA. He'll give us some more depth in the infield. I feel really good about the infield right now, but it doesn't hurt to have another body. Bednar slides in the rotation. Grant Holmes goes back to the bullpen. So the series I have been eyeing up since the start of the episode is 4 games at home against Detroit. Since it's a 2.5 game race, that series may decide the division. At 78-59, the Tigers are currently the number 1 wild card in the American League. The Orioles and Yankees both in the mix, and I mentioned those two specifically because we're going to get through 7 games on the road against Baltimore and then 4 in New York. I do want to check on Luis Robert with the Orioles. He's been very inconsistent this year. Better than he was last year, which doesn't really say a whole lot. Missed quite a bit of time with injury. But as his contract continues to go along, we're looking better and better for not re-signing him. He's been a good player this year, but not $38.5 million good. Justin Crawford's been arguably better at half the price. So we're going to go into this series against the Orioles. It's 4-2 here in the first game. We had the lead, but the bases are loaded here in the bottom of the 8th. Bruno Merced has entered the game early. He's going to look to get us out of the jam against the former Rookie of the Year, Anderson de los Santos. Swing and a miss on the curveball. Baltimore leaves him loaded. Merced gets out of the jam. Now we're going to go in the 9th, where things are really getting dicey. Max Schumann, RBI double. It's 4-3. Merced was taken out after the double and replaced by George Soriano. And I don't blame him. I trust Soriano a lot more. However, Kenny Thompson singles into left, and the Orioles tie it. It's another blown save for Bruno Merced, who did allow the tying run, but Soriano is the one who allows the runner to score. Thompson has 99 speed. He's digging for second. Throw from Caro. Not in time. And now Doyle Diaz, the former first-round draft pick, looks to walk it off. We'll see if Diaz can finish off the job. The 0-2. This pitch is hit well. Deep into right. Teal at the track, at the wall. Does not make the play. Goes off the wall. And the Orioles walk it off. We were up 4-2 going into the bottom of the 9th. But Bruno Merced blows another game. We take him out early. Earlier than we would have. We roll with Soriano. And that decision backfires as he ends up taking the loss. We were up 4-1 in this game, let alone 4-2. Crawford homered. He's been hitting for really good power lately, up to 15 homers now on the year. 12 hits, 2 walks. We had our base runners. We just didn't do enough with them, only scoring 4. Will Bednar's first start was a pretty damn good one. 6 2/3, only allowing 1 run. The bullpen choked it. I mean, there's no way around it. We're going to continue with the Baltimore series. This is game 2. We lead 5-3. Bruno Merced is back in after blowing another save, and he's in danger of blowing this game too. He allows a hit. He allows a walk. Kenny Thompson is back up. This one's on the ground. Smith to second, trying to turn the double play. No, he's safe. He needed all of that 99 speed. If he had 98 speed, he might have been out, and the game might be over. But Baltimore keeps it going. Runners on the corners. Tie and run at first. Earnhardt. The 0-2, swing and a miss. Merced redeems himself, and the White Sox tied this series at 1. We win at 5-3. Another great outing for Drew Thorpe, who I think is playing his best baseball down the stretch this year. Schneemann, Bimo, Sanabria, homer, and then Drew Thorpe was excellent. Joey Smith allows 2, but Bruno Merced shuts the door. Anderson De Los Santos homers twice for Baltimore. 4-3 against the Yankees. This is game 2. We lost the last game against the Orioles, but we did win the first against New York here in the Bronx. Merced looking for another save. With 2 away, it's Juan Yepes. Into center, Crawford will make the play, and the White Sox start 2-0 in a 4-game set against New York. We're trying to push the Yankees out of the playoff race for good. Schneemann homers again. Crawford homers again. Jagger Haynes gets the win. Jesus Luzardo was great, though. 6 scoreless despite the loss. So we're going to stop here real quick. We still have 2 more to go against New York. We're now 5 up on Detroit, but we're making a switch. Bruno Merced has basically allowed the same amount of runs as last year in half as many innings. He just is not cutting it. I don't trust him as the closer right now. We're going to give JoJo Romero the spot. I know he wasn't great as the closer last year, but I kind of want to keep Soriano as the innings eater, so I would rather JoJo be our late game guy. Grant Holmes dislocated shoulder out for a month or 2. We lose pitching depth. We lose a guy who can eat innings. Not ideal. He was starting to play better, too, after a slow start to the year where he did miss a lot of time with injuries. We're going to bring up the switch pitcher, Gerangelo Sanger. He pitched 3 games for us last year. It went horribly. It can't go worse, can it? He's been all right this year in AAA. His last 2 starts, 6 shutty in both of them. So we're going to go into this last game against the Yankees. We're looking to get the sweep. We did win game 3. We've certainly got a chance. We're up 8-6, although the Yankees have scored 4 in this inning. I don't believe Bruno Merced has pitched in this game, so that's good. Campusano to Smith, looking to turn 2. That'll do it! 5-4-3, a 4-game sweep for the White Sox. A huge momentum boost going into our biggest regular season series of the year against Detroit. Cam Smith homers again, his 25th, his average up to 270. Thorpe, another good start. Johnny Brito got away from him late, but an excellent game from Thorpe. He's been on fire. Wilkerman Gonzalez, the former White Sox, is having a nice year, but he takes the loss. 85-58. We're 6 ahead of Detroit, 8.5 of Kansas City, our largest lead of the year. We've got 4 games at home against the Tigers. If we play well in this series, if we win 3 or maybe even all 4 of these games, we can basically lock up the division and take the Tigers out of the race. Now, if Detroit wins 3 or 4, things could get interesting. We're going to play the first game. I want to pitch with Spencer Schwellenbach, and I want to try to set the tone in this series. The last thing we need to do is fall behind in this division race, not just because of Detroit and Kansas City, but Minnesota's playing better, Cleveland's playing better. Those 2 teams are probably out of the division race, but they're not out of the wild card race. In terms of some notable storylines, Barney Wagner, 373 over his last 13. Crawford, 389. Max Clark's hitting 350 over his last 86. That's not really a hot streak at this point. That's just him being the best player on the planet. Our starting pitching over the last week has been good. The last 7 games, we've gone 5-2 in the series against the Orioles and the Yankees, and we did it without arguably our 2 best starters in Noah Schultz and Luis Medina. Only 8 walks in that stretch, the best mark in baseball as we take a look at both lineups. No Kyle Teal. He hasn't played very well as of the last week or 2, and we're playing against the lefty anyway, so that gave me an excuse to give him a day off. Although we'll use him as a pinch hitter if we need. Spencer Schwellenbach, his 29th start of the year. He's been really solid for his ERA in the low to mid 3s as he gets Geraldo Perdomo on the splitter. This is exactly what we paid Schwellenbach to be. Not an ace, but a quality number 2, number 3 level starter. He's been exactly advertised. Max Clark, the MVP frontrunner, his WAR is now above 11. Pops it up into foul territory, caught at third by Brian Ramos. Again, Ramos getting the start against the left-handed pitcher. That being Rolando Bell, who we really thought about as a draft prospect all the way back in year number 1. He's turned into a really nice player in Detroit. 3.37 ERA, 1.11 whip. He's become arguably their second best starter. Even with the signing of Justin Steele, these guys are loaded with lefties, though. Bell, Steele, obviously Tarek Skubal at the top. We'll see him in Game 3 of this series, although Barney Wagner does get the early single to get us started. Randy Arozarena now, his average all the way down to 332. He's slacking. Single into right. 2 early base runners to start the bottom of the first inning for the White Sox. Cam Smith hitting in the 3-hole today. Average up to 270. Power's been great. I mean, he's playing so well. Goes down looking, though, on the sweeping curve. What a pitch. Schmidt goes down on the high fastball. Again, what a pitch. White Sox do not score. We move top 2. Manzardo draws a walk. First base runner of the game for Detroit. He's going to make a lot of money, Manzardo. Free agent this offseason. Alex Bregman draws a walk. Uh-oh. Back-to-back walks let up by Schwellenbach. Contreras on the ground. Ramos is going to tag the runner. We're going to try to get 3. Only 1. I will say, though, we were really close to the triple play. First and second base, I mean, those were close calls. That easily could have been 3. Schmidt over to Wagner. We'll get 2 here and end the inning. It's a 3-6-1 double play, an eventful top of the second inning. But importantly, Detroit doesn't score anybody. Bottom 2, 2 away. Brian Ramos goes down looking. And this is kind of turning into a pitching duel. We've seen some base runners, but both of these guys are getting out of jams. They're getting strikeouts. Both pitching really well. Top of the 3, my glorious king, Matty V. Matty Vierling goes down on the inside fastball. Vierling's bounced around in this series. Started with the Tigers, now back with the Tigers. That'll bring up Geraldo Perdomo with 2 away. This one is skied in to left. Arozarena really does not have to move far, maybe a step or 2. As he makes the catch. 3 no-hit innings for Schwellenbach. He's allowed a couple of walks, but no further damage done. He's pitching really well so far against a very good Tigers lineup. But likewise, Rolando Bell has also been awesome. Against arguably the best lineup in the league, Arozarena flies in to right. We had the 2 base runners to start the game, remember, the singles by Wagner and Arozarena. Since then, nothing. Into the 4th, 2, 3, 4 hitters due up. Luis Rengifo had some huge hits for Detroit in the playoffs last year. That one is up the middle. Schneemann blocks it. Throw to first, there is none. First hit of the game for the Tigers is an infield single by Luis Rengifo. Max Clark now, runner digs for second, and Caro's not going to get it off. Bobbled it on the exchange. So Rengifo is in scoring position. We'll see if they can bring him home now at third with 2 away. Swing and a miss for Alex Bregman. For Shuddy. For Schwellenbach. As we go bottom 4, Shane Schmidt up for the White Sox. Got him looking on the fastball. Another strikeout for Rolando Bell. Mike Trout with 2 away hits it well into center. Trout's still playing well, and he hasn't gotten hurt over the last 2.5 weeks. That's a win. Both of these pitchers, though, look great. Through 4 innings, Bell has only allowed 2 hits, no walks, 5 Ks. Schwellenbach just 1 hit, 2 walks, 3 Ks, and then the most important stat, 0 runs. William Contreras leads it off for Detroit. You could easily argue the 3 best catchers in the American League are playing in this game. Well, I mean, you can put playing in air quotes because Kyle Teal's not actually playing, but you get the point. With Teal, Caro, and Contreras, 3 very good players. I don't know what Willie Abreu swung at there. That was pretty stupid. Avi Hole now, 1-2, 1 away. Swing and a miss. The former first-round pick goes down on the splitter. 5 strikeouts for Spencer Schwellenbach. We'll go to the next batter, Matt Vierling, the 2-1 on the ground. Schmidt deflects it. What are you doing? Okay. Why did he just stand there? All he had to do was tag the base. Why did he tag the runner? I mean, I'm glad we got the out, but that was a lot more stressful than it needed to be. Brian Ramos 2-1 up the middle. What a play by Rengifo. Throw to first is in time. 15 consecutive retired batters from Rolando Bell. Into the 6th, top of the order. We'll start with Geraldo Perdomo. Blasted into right center. Crawford cannot make the play. At 1 hops off the wall. Perdomo into second with a leadoff double. The Tigers get a runner in scoring position to start the inning for the heart of the order. Schwellenbach over 100 pitches. We're going to stick by him. 3-2. Rengifo to third. Ramos deflects it. Throw to first in time. Good job by Brian Ramos to recover. That was not an easy play to make for the first out of the inning. 3-2 for Max Clark. We want to be careful with him. Clark singles it into right. Perdomo holds it third. Does not want to test Smith's arm. In hindsight, probably the right decision. Runners on the corners. Schwellenbach's played a great game. We're going to stick by him. Manzardo on the ground, should be 2. Wagner, Schneemann, Schmidt. Double play, inning over, 6 scoreless for Spencer Schwellenbach. We are not going to keep him out there for the 7th because he is running out of gas. Bottom 6, Daniel Schneemann gets us started, and Schneemann sends it into left, an opposite field hit. Bell's pitch count is a lot lower than that of Schwellenbach. He's at about 80. And the Tigers could get a couple more innings out of him if he continues to pitch well. But there's a hit by Barney Wagner. We haven't gotten hits since the first inning. Now we get 2 in a row with nobody out and our best hitters due up. That'll start with Randy Arozarena. Swing and a miss on the sweeping curve. Big strikeout by Bell. This ball's on the ground. Could be an inning-ending double play. That'll bring up Cam Smith. Full count. The impending free agent as he gets a hold of this one into right. Back at the track, at the wall. You can put it on the board. 3-run homer for Cam Smith. And the White Sox strike first in the bottom of the 6th. Home run number 26 on the year for Cam Smith, continuing to play some outstanding baseball. The Tigers will make a switch. Rolando Bell's day is done. David Bednar will replace him. It's a family affair. Will Bednar's brother. So Bell only gets 5 1/3 innings, allowing 3 runs. The numbers don't look great, but they don't tell the story. Rolando Bell was awesome for most of this game. Trout swinging a miss on the splitter. Bednar gets the Tigers out of it as it remains 3-0. And again, we will go to the bullpen for the 7th. As it's Justin Slayton, the Rule 5 pick, who's been outstanding for us. I think he's been our most consistent reliever this year. We got him not just in the Rule 5, but in the 2nd round of the Rule 5 draft. The entire league had a chance to get him twice. They didn't want him. Their loss is our gain, though. He's been amazing. For only $500,000 on his salary. Alex Bregman, though, starts the inning off with a bang. That one is gone into left, and the Tigers are on the board. So Schwellenbach throws 6 scoreless. We take him out of the game. First batter against the bullpen, home run. That'll make it 3-1. William Contreras swinging a miss on the cutter. Good pitch by Slayton, looking to get back into the groove after allowing the homer. Wilyer Abreu now up for Detroit. Behind in the count, 1-2. Dear God, why did he swing at that? Those are the types of pitches that you guys think I swing at. I mean, sure, my discipline can be inconsistent, but it's not that bad. Bottom 7, Bobby Johnson is out of the pen for Detroit. He's been used a lot this year. Hasn't been all that good. 5.44 ERA. He's been equally mediocre against righties and lefties this year. It'll be Justin Crawford who gets the inning started, average at 248. He's been hitting for great power, though, recently, as he gets that one over the glove of Rengifo for a single. His contact and his on-base metrics really haven't changed that much, but he's hit for a ton of home runs over the last month and a half or so. That'll bring up Edgar Caro, hitting down at the 7 spot today. 3-2, draws a walk. We're actually starting to platoon Caro a little bit. We're playing him less than normal, given some of his struggles. Daniel Schneemann lines it to second. Could be an inning-ending double play. 4-6-3 it is. Bobby Johnson gets out of the jam for the Tigers. It remains 3-1, and we're going to go into the 8th. Even though Slayton, I think, has been our most consistent reliever, I would argue the best one is pretty easily George Soriano. I wouldn't say he's been our most consistent this year because he wasn't on the team for 4 months. But he was great with the A's, and so far he's been as advertised through the first month plus with us. Perdomo to third. Ramos backhanded throw is in time. What a throw by Brian Ramos. That looked a little Mahomey. Luis Rengifo now behind 1-2 with 2 away. Swing and a miss. Soriano retires the side. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. A 3-1 lead for the White Sox as the Tigers will turn it to one of their veterans, Brian Hoeing. He's been pretty good this year, 3.16 ERA and around 80 innings. Top of the order is up. Barney Wagner draws a walk. Wagner is as good as anybody on this team in terms of his plate discipline. Leadoff runner aboard. That'll bring up Randy Arozarena. Count is full. Got him looking on the sinker. Good pitch by Hoeing for the first out of the inning. That'll bring us to Shane Schmidt now. 2-2, 2 away. Quiet game for Shane. He's 0 for 3. Swing and a miss on the sinker. We'll go to the ninth. We'll bring in the closer, the new closer, that is, Jojo Romero, not Bruno Merced. So far, so good since the promotion, I suppose, for Romero. He'll start with Max Clark. We get the lefty-on-lefty matchup, even though Clark's raking against anybody he goes against regardless. And sure enough, launches it into center. Miracle Max strikes again. The runaway most valuable player, really not just in the American League, but all of baseball, homers for a 43rd time. That leads all of the MLB, and it's 3-2. Manzardo, swing and a miss on the slider. What a pitch by Jojo Romero for the first out. Alex Bregman homered last time. He'd like another one here to tie the game. 1-2, check the swing. Umpire says he went around. That's strike 3, and the game comes down to the number 6 hitter, William Contreras, the catcher. Behind in the count, 1-2. The Tigers are down to their final strike. Romero looks to shut the door. The 1-2, swing and a miss. The White Sox win game 1 of 4 against Detroit as they take it 3-2. 3-run homer in the bottom of the 6th by Cam Smith ends up being all the offense we get and all the offense we needed. 6 scoreless innings for Schwellenbach. Got a little dicey, though, with the bullpen. Bregman homers in the 7th, Clark homers in the 9th. Bullpen continues to be really inconsistent this year. Doesn't matter who the closer is. It's been spotty the entire year. So that's a concern definitely for the playoffs. I feel good about the rotation, especially if Medina and Schultz are healthy. If not, then I don't feel so good. But the bullpen has been shaky. Rolando Bell pitched a great game. The numbers may not show it, but he had 5 scoreless innings, got away from him in the 6th, but I thought he had a really good game. Bullpen honestly pitched well, too. Our offense really wasn't that impressive. 6 hits, 2 runs. Problem was the Tigers' offense wasn't much better. They also had 6 hits, 2 walks, and 2 runs. Obviously not enough, though. So we'll see how we perform in the rest of the series. We're now up by 7 games. We move up from 6 to 7. Tee-hee-hee. The Tigers are still 4.5 up in the wild card. Cleveland's making some noise, though. Minnesota's making some noise. We've got Minnesota and we've got Cleveland twice the rest of the year. 6-5, the Tigers lead game 3. We won game 2, so we're going for the series win here. Shane Schmidt is up against the all-star closer, Devin Williams. 2-2, swing and a miss on the screwball. That pitch is ridiculous. That's been his go-to for over a decade. Devin Williams, a 9-time MLB All-Star. Kyle Teal back in the lineup, swing and a miss. I mean, that pitch is just ridiculous, dude. How are you supposed to hit that? Cam Smith is now up. 2-2 with the game on the line. He gets plunked. After his big homer in game 1, Devin Williams wants nothing to do with him. Brian Ramos now up, again down to his final strike. 2-2, tying run at second. Ramos bloops it up into shallow right, and it will drop! Rengifo cannot make the catch. We'll hold the runners. We're not able to tie the game, but the bases are now loaded. The Tigers get unlucky. It's Mike Trout who looks to be the hero. Again, down to the final strike. 2-2. Outside for ball 3. A walk would be more than fine here because that would drive in the tying run. But obviously, anything close, we've got to be aggressive. 3-2. Fouls off the fastball. That was close. It was right on the outside edge. I think with 2 strikes, I can't get too upset with Trout for protecting. 3-2 on the way. Ball 4. Tie game. Wow. That pitch was in the zone. If that was strike 3, that would have ended the game. But instead, we tie it at 6 and are now going for the win. Bobby Johnson replaces Devin Williams. We just got given a gift by the umpire, and now we'll look to take advantage. Barney Wagner off the bench, tied at 6. All he needs is a base hit to end it. First pitch of the at-bat against Bobby Johnson on the way. Wagner up the middle, deflected by Perdomo, and that'll do it. The White Sox walk it off in unlikely fashion. A walk to tie it by Mike Trout, and an infield single by Barney Wagner to win it. That walk by Trout, that was the play of the game, really. Should have been called strike 3, but instead we win by a score of 6-7. So we've won the series. We've taken the first 3, and now we're going for the sweep, just like the Tigers got the 4-game sweep against us in the ALCS last year. Tarek Skubal, not his best. 5 innings, 4 earned. As for us, Jagger Haynes was also very spotty, let up 4 runs himself. We did lose the last game. We don't get the sweep, but we're still 8 up on Detroit, and we appear to really have the division in a good spot. Won the first game against Minnesota. This is game 2. Top of the 10th, Denzel Clark puts it on the ground. Ramos to first. It's in time. We'll see if we can get the walk-off. Look to win another series against the division opponent, especially one in Minnesota, who now all of a sudden is alive and well in the wild card race. Bottom 10, 2 on. Wagner gets a board off of the walk. Not the worst thing, though, for Minnesota, because it gets a force out to every base. The problem is that it brings up this guy, Randy Arozarena, into left. It is gone! A walk-off 3-run homer by Randy Arozarena to win it for Chicago, 5-2. The White Sox are playing some really good football. Since the start of the Yankees series, right now we're one of the hottest teams in the league. We've won 9 of our last 10. The offense is playing some good ball. Really didn't have our best game at the plate today, though. It was more so the pitching. Logan Gilbert was great for the Twins. Cam Smith homers again. He's at 28. Randy obviously homers again at 36. Another good start for Schwellenbach. And shout out Bruno Merced. 3 innings allowing 1 base runner. The last game, we ended up losing 11-9. Our offense did play really well, but it didn't matter because the pitching was horrible. Schmidt, Caro, Trout all go deep. Ezra Valenzuela got the start, and he faced 1 batter. Was taken out early. I think he, broke a nail or something. Obviously not a long-term thing, but it sucks he couldn't play, and then the bullpen played horribly. So we've got 12 games left to go. We're 90-60 before we do anything. We've clinched the playoffs. That's worthy of celebration. At 90-60, we comfortably not only lead the division, but we're 5 up for the number 1 seed in the American League. We've already passed our win total from last year. We should pass it from the season before. We've got 6 games now against Cleveland and Kansas City. We've got a real shot to lock up the division here in the coming days. Against Cleveland, it's 6-7. Here in the bottom of the 8th of Game 1, Austin Wells goes for the bunt, and it proves to be a success. We're just going to get the 1 out at first. Cleveland now has 2 runners in scoring position. Ryan Ortiz is up against Jose A. Ferrer. This one is hit in center, and that ball is going to drop. Outfielders played really deep, and because of that, the Guardians score 2, and they take the lead. Ryan Ortiz comes up big, the former first-rounder. Jason Chorio has been a breakout star in Major League Baseball this year. He's been awesome. Gold Glove candidate, hitting well at the plate, over 20 homers. Grounds it out to Brian Ramos. Cleveland scores 2, though, to take the lead. We'll see if we can come back here in the 9th. Randy Arozarena gets on base because that's what he does. Kyle Teal has 2 homers. He's looking for a 3rd. He's driven in 5 of our 7 runs. I guess his cold streak is done. Although he goes down looking on the slider. What a pitch by Hunter Gaddis. Unfortunately, they didn't let us play this last at bat for Schmidt, and we lose the game 8-7. So we scored plenty of runs, but I do notice quite a bit of flaws in this game. A lot of the flaws that I saw from this team early in the year, in the sense that we relied way too much on our star power. Arozarena had 4 hits. Teal had 3. The rest of the team combined had 4. Arozarena drove in a run. Teal drove in 5. Everybody else brought in 1. So we need these other guys outside of our 2 stars to step up. And I think for most of the year they have, but not today. Oswaldo Escobedo, fractured hand. That is not good. Waldo's been a platoon guy for us this year, and he hasn't played all that well as of recent, but this still sucks. We're losing a body for likely most of the postseason. He was really bad in the playoffs last year, but still unfortunate. I trust him more than Richie Lindsey, but we are going to bring Lindsey up for the remainder of the year. We won the last 2 games against Cleveland, so we do win the series. We won the first game against Kansas City, and we're blowing them out in the second. Brian Ramos has homered twice. He's looking for a third against Luis Perales. That's not a homer, but it is another hit. Our offense has been playing ridiculously well as of recent. We've scored 12 runs in each of our last 2 games. And here we've got 9. We've got a chance to hit that mark again. Braden Montgomery sack fly. It's now 10-5. Roger Lerma and Bobby Witt Jr. had a pair of homers. As Brian Ramos looks at the fastball, now 2-2. That was a close one. Arguably could have been called strike 3. Ramos is average up to 298. He's got a chance to hit 300 this year as he pops it up against Andrew Wantz. That one should be caught, and it will. The White Sox would add another run. The guy at first ended up scoring off of a Barney Wagner single. We only scored 11 runs here. We're slacking compared to the last 2 games. But that's how 35 combined runs over our last 3. The offense is playing ridiculous baseball right now, heating up at the right time. To me, the MLB is about peaking at the right spot. Playing really well in April and May is nice, but how much does it matter if you're not doing well in September? So to see us playing really well here down the stretch is a big deal. Everybody smacked the ball for us at the plate. We're looking for the sweep. I don't think we're going to score 11 or 12 runs again. We could get some more here in the 7th with Justin Crawford. Into right with 2 away, and the base is loaded. It is gone! Grand slam! 20 home runs. How did he get to 20? I feel like at the end of July, he was at like 8. How did he get to 20? Justin Crawford's been hitting for ridiculous power as of recent. This is a guy who's making himself a lot of money. I've said it over the last couple of years. I know I sound like a broken record, but given where this roster is, could this be our only real chance to win a World Series? Crawford's a free agent. Cam Smith's a free agent. Brian Ramos is a free agent. All 3 of those guys may very well command $100 million. Maybe that's a little bit aggressive, but the way those 3 guys are playing, all of them are making themselves some money this year. Cam Smith homered 2. He's at 29. Crawford's at 20. Caro's at 26. And Chase Mydroff is at 1. Still, we ended up getting 8 more runs. The offense is electric right now. We have scored now, 43 runs over our last 4. The division has officially been clinched, and the number 1 seed we're very close to. We're up by 6 on Boston with 6 left. So we just have to win 1 more, and we are the number 1 seed. We've already clinched a first-round bye. So we have to be smart with how we handle this. Assuming we get the number 1 seed, the last few games of the year really are not going to matter. But you got to remember, we're going to have a week off. So if we phone it in the last few games of the year and then don't play for a week, that could prove to be trouble. I do believe there is real correlation between teams getting first-round byes in the MLB playoffs and then struggling in the second round against a team who just won the wild card series. So because of that, we've got to play our A game. The regular starters are going to play. Now, we might give a couple of the older guys maybe an extra day off or 2. Maybe the starting pitchers will go a little less. But for the next 6 games, for the most part, we're going to treat them like any other game. We're going to still try to win. The Mariners are right in the mix for the wild card. I guess Cleveland, maybe not so at 77 and 79 at this point. AAA team misses out on the playoffs. AA team does make it, so that's cool. Against Cleveland, it's 3-2 here in this first game. We can officially clinch the number 1 seed with a win, but we are in a sticky situation here. Justin Crawford up the middle, tie game. We were down to our final strike, but Crawford comes up big again. He struggled last year in the playoffs and really wasn't all that good for us early this year, but finally is showing why we traded for him last year at the deadline from the Phillies. Edgar Caro clobbers it into center. Did he just call game for the 1 seed? No. It's caught. Off the bat, I thought that was long gone. I mean, he got a hold of it. Unfortunately, it does not happen, though. We're headed to extras. We do tie it at the very least. Man, I thought the game was over. Cleveland gets 2 in the top half of the 10th. We've got 2 runners on, though, in the bottom half. Big spot for Kyle Teal against Ciccone. First pitch. Rocket up the middle for a base hit. It's 5-4. The runner, Schneemann, safe at third. And the tying run is 90 away from the plate. Ciccone will be checked out of the game. And Cleveland's going to roll with the mountain. Felix Bautista. There were a couple points in this series we actually thought about signing him. It never ended up happening. He's been okay this year. 4.07 ERA and 66 innings of work. Tying run at third, winning run at first. It's Shane Schmidt. The 2-2. Hits him! Wow, getting hit by a 91-mile-an-hour splitter. That's got to hurt. So now it's Brian Ramos, the 0-2. Swing and a miss in the dirt. Why did you swing at that? Look, it's a good thing we're getting the mistakes out of the way now and not in the playoffs. Guardians win it 5-4. They win the first of 3 here in Chicago. It's not the worst case scenario. We can still get the 1 seed tomorrow, or if Boston loses anyway. But that was a pretty bad swing decision. 8 scoreless innings for Sawyer Gibson-Lawn before the bullpen wrecked it. Hunter Gaddis, the closer, blows the save. Cam Smith drives in 2. Teal brings in a run. He's at 109 RBIs, while Crawford is at 67. So we do lose the first game, but Boston does as well, 12-10. So that means we are officially the number 1 seed. The AL playoffs runs through Chicago. We weren't even ahead in the division coming into the day. Now we're up by 10 against Detroit. So we've got 5 games to go. The AA team's out. That's unfortunate. But we've got 5 games left to go. And again, we're treating this like any other normal game. We won the second one against Cleveland. I guess our hangover game. We still won it. Top 7, bases loaded. Why did he throw the ball? Thank God. That could have easily been safe. We had to make our pitcher slide. Yeah, that's exactly what we need to do. Have our pitcher diving on the ground a week before the postseason. He could have hurt himself. That's not what we want. White Sox do win it, though. Kyle Teal powers a late homer. That is one hell of an afro. Shout out Durangelo Sanja. He's got quite the head of hair. 11-9, though. White Sox get the win over Cleveland, so we win the series against the Guardians. That puts us at 97 wins. So if we sweep Seattle, we could get 100. Cam Smith homers, that's 30. Teal homers, that's 40. Schmidt at 31. Randy at 37. Crawford at 21. That's a lot. Game 1 against the Mariners, top of the 10th, tied at 2. Tyler Locklear, that's a fair ball. That'll score at least 1. It's an RBI single. I feel like Tyler Locklear rakes against us, and every time he does it, it makes me mad because of that one time when we could have traded like nothing to get him, and we just didn't do it. Hayate Yakishio is up. That one gets away from Sanabria. So the second is not in time. That was risky to throw it to second with the guy at third. I thought we had a chance to get him out, and we could have if the throw was not completely off the mark. Yakishio strikes out on the palm ball. Good pitch by Merced. Although we're going to take him out here. He's been pitching for a while. Give him credit. I think he's been good, at least somewhat. George Soriano will replace him. 2.21 ERA in 93 innings. This guy is an animal. Looking to keep the lead at 1. We'll see if he can get out of it. Lazaro Montez, the 0-1, grounds it sharply to second. Schneemann makes the play. Throw to first is in time. The White Sox in the bottom half would walk it off. We win the game 4-3. Sanabria RBI triple. Crawford RBI triple. Who would have thought? So we are up to 98 wins on the year. We take it 4-3 against Seattle. I think the Mariners have already clinched their spot in the playoffs. This might have been their hangover game, which would explain why they, well, lost. A good win, though, for the White Sox. I think we're handling these last few games well. Really good game by Tink Hence, who missed a large chunk of the year with an injury. Having him healthy is a huge deal going into the playoffs because he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Ezra Valenzuela, his final start of the year, very solid. 3.59 ERA. Jose A. Ferrer suffers a back injury. Hopefully it does not affect him in the playoffs. We split the last 2 against Seattle, and we officially finish 99-63. So we go 4-2 over our last 6 against Cleveland and the Mariners. We haven't lost a series since the start of the month against the Orioles. I mean, you talk about a team who's playing well at the right time. That's exactly what we're doing. We finished with the best record in the AL. Boston will get the other first round bye at 92-70. We won the division by 13 games. The Tigers had the lead coming into the episode halfway through August. We won by 13. Minnesota ends up in third. The Royals utterly collapse and miss the playoffs. The Astros, Twins, and Orioles all tie at 83 wins, but Baltimore gets the final playoff spot. They will play against the Rangers in the first round. The Phillies win the East at 82-80, a game above the Mets, who still get in as a wild card at 81-81. These wild card teams are not very good. The Cubs finish with the best record in baseball, 101-61. The playoffs in both the AL and the NL run through Chicago. Dodgers win the NL West by a game over San Diego. The interesting thing about the playoff bracket, though, is the Dodgers, the number 2 seed, they get lucky. They don't have to play against either the Padres or the Giants. They get the winner of the Phillies and the Mets series. I feel like you would rather almost be the number 2 seed than the number 1 seed, because generally the 4 and 5 seeds are better than 3 and 6. So we, as the number 1 seed, kind of get screwed over, as do the Cubs. The Cubs get hurt more, though. As we take a look at the final stats, Randy finishes below 1,000 OPS, although it says he has 1,000 in his player card. Hasn't played that well over the last couple of weeks. I think the week off comes at a good time for him. Teal was great, of course. And then behind them, Brian Ramos was next in OPS. We gave him more run against lefties. Ended up being a good decision. He was one of our best players this year. 23 games played for Mike Trout. That's not a lot. Cam Smith was really good. Barney Wagner was really good. I was a little disappointed by Schmidt. Still hit 31 homers. Still drove in nearly 100. But I expected him to really take that superstar leap this year. It didn't happen. Finished with his lowest OPS. Schneemann was solid. Crawford played really well late. Edgar Caro was a little spotty, but he still had 26 homers. Only had 287 on base percentage, though. That's not very good. In terms of WAR, Kyle Teal finished at 8.9. That is a lot. Most years that would lead the league. This year it was second because Max Clark is an animal. He finished with about 12. Randy 7.9. Smith was third. Ramos and Wagner at 4.5. Crawford almost at 4. Caro and Schmidt pretty high as well. This lineup might be the most deep group in the league. The lack of depth has hurt us over the last couple of years, especially last season with all the injuries. In terms of pitching, if Schultz and Medina are healthy, that's the X factor. Both of those guys are questionable right now for the ALDS. It's unclear if they're going to be back or not. We could really use those guys because those are our two best pitchers. If they are back, how do we want to manage their usage? Because neither of them have played since August. So we'd be thrusting them right back into the playoffs. And the other starters have been more than solid. We have 6 pitchers with a WAR above 2. So again, the depth here really showing. We don't really have an ace. We don't have an elite closer. But we've got a bunch of guys who are really solid. And all it takes in the postseason is for one pitching staff to get hot, and your team can make a run. Max Clark wins the MVP, obviously. Rafael Devers ahead of Teal. I don't know if I agree with that. His offensive numbers were a little better, but he doesn't play defense really, or at least he doesn't play good defense. Max Clark, though, these numbers are insane. 51 homers, 122 RBIs, 345 average, 1074 OPS, 12 WAR practically. He won the Triple Crown. He won the overall Triple Crown. He led all of baseball in average home runs and RBIs. Another Cy Young for Sandy Alcantara. That's 3. I mean, does he have a Hall of Fame case? I mean, at this point, he's been one of the best pitchers in the league for like a decade. Clark wins the batting title. Randy in third. Miguel Lozano, the reliever of the year. Ryan Calderon, the rookie of the year. Not a super competitive race in the AL. Max Clark wins the Hank Aaron. Gunnar Henderson, the MVP. That is his 5th. He's got as good of a resume as it gets before the age of 30. In the 7 seasons in this series, he's won the MVP 5 times. He did not in 2028 because he was hurt. And then 2030, the only other year he didn't, was arguably his best season. Strange that he didn't win the MVP that year. Pete Alonso in second, I do not agree with in the slightest. And then Yordan Alvarez in third. Roki Sasaki, the Cy Young, he's really turned it around. Very up and down early with the Dodgers and the Orioles. First season with the Reds wins the Cy Young. So here, hope, batting title, Brandon Williamson, reliever of the year. The Rookie of the Year race was really exciting. There are some really good players here. Sebastian Gallegos with the Rockies. Cyrus Bignoni, the generational prospect, who's already better than Shane Schmidt. And then Willie Aguila, who ended up winning it for the Cubs. Gunnar Henderson wins the Hank Aaron, and then for us, Kyle Teo wins another Gold Glove, Edgar Quero in second. Now, those two guys, it's kind of unfair because they split off between catcher. Randy finished in second, oddly enough. Teo wins his 4th Silver Slugger in a row. Quero comes in third. Cam Smith comes in third at third base. Rafael Devers with the sweep. He's won 6. That's been a great contract for Boston. And obviously, Randy wins 1 as well. So as we look at the bracket, we will play against either the Tigers or the Mariners. That's going to be a great series. 2 teams who we've played against in the playoffs before. Skubal and Henson game 1 is going to be awesome. I know who I want to play against in the ALDS. I'm sure you guys can probably figure it out. But we're going to find out in the next episode. We'll go through the first and maybe the only part of the ALDS. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Peace out.